I feel like my guitars come out of a historical perspective rather than new age kind of guitar. There's kind of different schools in American handmade guitars. You know, there's sort of the California school that is more out of new age kind of guitar making, like say a different shaped guitar that doesn't fit in a case that you can buy. What I build is more an evolution of design that was factory made in the US. I like the aesthetics of the traditional guitars, you know, Martin and Gibson, but I like to put a twist in also. That twist is just taking the traditional elements and mixing them up a little bit and adding just refinements to it. What really attracted me the most was the sound and tone of a wooden guitar. The tone just thrilled me. And then a friend of mine that said, "Oh, you've got to hear this," and he put on a Doc Watson LP, and that was a tone.
Kim Walker is one of America's finest luthiers, an absolute icon in the tradition of vintage guitar repair. He, and only a select few other specialists, can boast of such extensive contact and exposure to guitars of the golden pre-war era. Little did we know that our story would unfold where vintage guitar reconstruction has its roots. At Gruhn's, in Nashville, Tennessee.
Prior to 1970, the number of builders, hand builders, outside of factories was really very small. I used to joke when I first opened my business that if I lost a finger on my left hand, for each really truly good hand builder of guitars, that I'd still have as many functional digits left as Django did. Today there are lots of builders. There are some doing very, very good work. There are some like Kim Walker. Kim is an extremely skilled craftsperson.
I looked to find someone who would show me how to make instruments, and it turned out to be Lee Schilling, who was a dulcimer maker, and he lived in Cosby, Tennessee, up right on the border of the Smoky Mountains National Park. A real picturesque place, a great place for back to the land hippie to go, and that's what I did. And I made quite a few banjos and dulcimers there, and then started making guitars, not very good ones, but just, you know, what I could. And then some books came out by Irving Sloan. And the first one was a classical guitar book, but I adapted what I wanted to make, which was steel strings, from the techniques in that.
While it's true that people learn a great deal working here, we have not taken rank amateurs or people who did not have previous woodworking skill.
After doing that, I did see an ad in Frets magazine for a position at Gruhn Guitars.
When Kim started with us, he already had been building guitars and dulcimers, and again, did not have the experience with vintage instruments.
George talked me into coming over for an interview. He said, "Well, even if you don't come to work for me, you definitely need to come and visit my shop, and we need to talk."
With the basic skills he had, Kim certainly was able to adapt, and his skills improved. Over time, he became my repair shop foreman.
Though George is not a mentor of mine as far as the actual building or repairing of instruments, he certainly is as far as having provided the place and the community of people.
They make it possible for me to buy vintage instruments that need work and to restore them such that they are really, truly right.
It's a tremendous resource. George's shop was, quite the turning point for me.
Where is my real heart and soul in this business? It's vintage.
He had owned every Loar L5 that he had ever seen. I really felt like I'd fallen into, a grad school kind of thing. You could see, mint condition instruments. You could see instruments that had been damaged, so you could see cross sections of instruments that had been exposed, what had actually been done, how thick were the tops, how was the graduation done.
He had the basic woodworking and guitar skills such that he could make any component part of virtually any kind of a guitar.
And a lot of the learning at Gruhn's was peer learning. And we had a group of 6 or 7 guys, depending on the exact time, that were all on the quest of how these instruments were made. And we would spend countless hours in speculation and debate as to how things were made.
The old ones were put together with hide glue. Most of the new ones are not. Usually they're using white glue.
Someone would discover something by looking in a mirror, and someone else had that same experience from a little while back, and we'd sit down and discuss. So the learning experience really was not just a solo thing. It wasn't just me and interaction with a guitar of 50 years ago and trying to get what that maker had in mind and how his methods were.